All right. Well, I'm Greg Mercer. I guess a couple people mentioned JungleScout so far. I didn't think anyone here would have heard of it, so that was a pleasant surprise. And today I'm going to talk about choosing products that actually sell well on Amazon, okay? So my whole speech is just directed for those of you who want to sell on Amazon and how to choose which products are good to do so. So I used to be an engineer just a few years ago, a civil engineer, worked a corporate, typical 9-to-5 job, didn't like it very much, got into selling on Amazon, and that was kind of my ticket out of there. So I still run my Amazon business as well. That kind of led into software. I started JungleScout just about a year and a half ago, and now I devote most of my efforts to the software side of the business. I am a digital nomad, which is just a fancy term for saying I'm homeless. I don't have a home. My wife and I, who's out in the crowd, we just kind of travel around. Right now I live in Hong Kong, and I'll be in Barcelona next week. It looks like this question's been asked like 4 times today, so I'm not going to make you raise your hands again unless you really want. But it seems like a good portion of our crowd's already selling on Amazon, which is cool. So I guess I can direct some of this then towards choosing more products or continuing to grow your business and so forth. So let's talk about why does Amazon rock? Why a few years ago none of us would have probably been in here saying we want to sell on Amazon and so forth. And there's a reason it's grown so much so quickly, and that really is because it's awesome. All right, it has a low barrier of entry. Any normal guy like me or you or anyone can get into it and start selling on Amazon. It's incredibly powerful. There's shoppers. If I'm going to YouTube, I'm there like watching cat videos, right? If I'm going to Google, maybe I'm searching for how to change the oil filter on my car. But if I'm going to Amazon, my credit card's saved in there. I'm in the mindset I'm ready to buy something. So we want to put our products where these buyers are, where the people are that are trying to spend their money. So, it's easy for us sellers to use. The fees are reasonable. There's fulfillment by Amazon, which I think everyone knows what that is, but essentially they take care of all the grunt work for us, right? We're not out in our warehouse or in our garage picking and packing and shipping boxes. Amazon's going to take care of all that for us, including a lot of the customer service and so forth. So it's an awesome platform. I can't say enough good things about it. So I have a lot of friends and family, and even myself sometimes I'm guilty of this, and they'll say, I saw this product. I saw this product, or I know the best idea, right? And maybe it's a slinky chair, or maybe it's something else, and you just know this is going to be the best product in the whole world, and you're going to be a millionaire. The truth is, most of these product ideas are not very good. I hate to break it to you, but I want to be the one to tell you. Coming from an engineering background, I'm like a data-driven guy. I like to see what's actually, selling well, which products are actually doing well. Not, personally, I don't like to go off my gut feeling on what I think is going to be a cool product. Like, this slinky chair, it looks pretty awesome, but I don't think there's people already searching on Amazon for this, right? So, so that being said, what do we look for? How do we know what is a good product and what we should be selling? So what I look for existing demand on these products. So again, I'm not going with my gut feeling. I want to see what people are already searching for and shopping for on Amazon. So I already know that hundreds of thousands of people are going into Amazon every day, typing this in the search bar, and they want to buy this already. Okay, so those are the products personally that I look for and that I would recommend you guys sell for. That being said, there's a lot of products on Amazon that get tons of sales every day, but they're too competitive. It's hard if we're getting in this today to get into some of these niches because they are hyper competitive. So just a few other little things. I'm not going to touch on supplier selection and all that because there's a lot of people here that are way more qualified than I am. But as a general rule of thumb, smaller and lighter weight and simpler items are going to be a little bit easier on you. The fulfillment fees at Amazon are cheaper. You don't have this, if it's a brand new account, you don't have the 500 unit maximum for oversized type products. So those are things to keep in mind. And of course, we're going to stay away from patented items, unlicensed products and so forth. So a few months ago, I think I started this in October or November or something, at JungleScout we did a case study where we publicly sourced and launched a product, and we're donating all of the proceeds from it to charity. And it's been a really cool case study that I think a lot of people have learned a lot from. So we chose marshmallow sticks. You see them up there. We titled them Jungle Sticks. And they're doing pretty darn good. So I took this snapshot yesterday, which is the same day I did this whole presentation, but don't tell Peter. And as you can see, the last 30-day sales, over $15,000 in sales, 784 units sold. I think like we're making $5.45 profit per item, so over $4,000 a month, which is pretty sweet, right? I mean, I think most people in this room would agree that's pretty nice profit for one item. That's like how much I used to make at a full-time job. And if you get a bunch of these products, it can add up to some pretty serious money. So, which makes us think, so how do we mimic this? How do we replicate it? How do we all find products that, Captain Obvious here can just make it rain with, right? So I really recommend doing research ahead of time before at these trade shows. So I remember the first time I went to a trade show, you go there and you're just like starry-eyed and there's just tons and tons of products, right? And then again, you have that gut feeling like, oh man, this is gonna be the best product ever. Like, I'm gonna kill it with this one. And I think it's tough if you just go to these trade shows looking for ideas. So I actually recommend that you do your product research ahead of time. You come up with some ideas, and then you can start approaching different factories or suppliers with a list of existing ideas. So some of the criteria that I personally look for, this is the same thing we use for the Jungle Sticks, this is the same thing that I use for all of my products. I found it works really well for me, and I think it would for you, is I look for 3,000 units per month of existing demand on Amazon. So this means we're not creating a new niche, right? Like I'm not talking about coming up with a new invention here. This demand already exists on Amazon. There's already this many people every month already purchasing this product off Amazon. We just want to capture some of that, right? So when I say existing demand, I'd be adding up the sales of the maybe like first page results on Amazon. So if I search for bamboo marshmallow sticks, I would add up all of the units sold on a monthly basis for all those sellers, and I want that to equal about 3,000. That's the personal rule of thumb I came up with, and I found if that's the case, and it's not too competitive, I should be able to sell 10 a day or 300 a month, which is about 10% of that 3,000, and that's what I personally shoot for is all my products I want to sell at least 10 a day. So okay, that criteria is not too hard. There's plenty of niches and product types that have that much demand, but a lot of these are too competitive, right? So for instance, if I go in there, I search for garlic press, or I search for yoga mat, or whatever, yeah, there's going to be, some of these supplements, there's going to be way more than the 3,000 units a month, but these are very mature, competitive niches. So, and the easiest way to determine this is how many reviews the top sellers have. So if I were to search for marshmallow sticks and, the top 10 sellers all had like 1,000, 500, 800, 600 reviews. This is, this signifies a very mature and competitive niche. If I were to do the same search and I'm seeing, in the top 5 sellers that maybe 2 or 3 listings have like under 50 reviews, in the top 10, maybe I'm seeing like 5 sellers have under 50 reviews. To me, that signifies that it's not a very competitive, mature niche and something that we could easily enter. So we're looking for like these Goldilocks products, right, that have plenty of demand but aren't too competitive. And they represent an overall low percentage of all the products on Amazon. But the good news is there's hundreds of millions of products on Amazon. So even if only 1% meet these Goldilocks standards, it's still a lot of opportunities for us, right? So I guess at least 1 or 2 of you have heard of JungleScout, maybe more. Anyone used it before? All right, very cool. So when I was originally kind of writing this presentation, I'm not the type to try to like sell anything. I think it's pretty lame. So I started with doing all the product research without using JungleScout, and the truth of it is it's pretty terribly time consuming. So I am just going to talk about I'm going to give some tips to do it without JungleScout, but I'm also going to show you kind of how to do it with JungleScout. And then if you don't have it, just sign up for a free trial and cancel. So you don't get charged, so you can't say I'm trying to sell you anything. So this is one of our products. This is the JungleScout web-based app, all right? And what we've done with this is we've kind of rebuilt Amazon's catalog in a way that's user-friendly for us sellers to search through, right? So if I go to Amazon.com, they're probably the best in the whole world at selling items to consumers, right? I'm sure they've split tested every little color and line and placement and everything on their entire site. I know every time I go there, I'm looking for one thing. I end up having 4 things in my checkout, in my cart by the time I'm gone. Like, they're really good at that. But it's not designed for us sellers to look for product ideas. I can't go to Amazon and say, like, hey, only show me the products that sell really well. They don't have any competition, right? They don't have the filters for that. It's not built for that. So we've kind of essentially built a new user interface for their catalog that is user-friendly for us sellers to search through. So what I would do if I was doing some product research before the trade show tomorrow or next week or next year or whatever, I could, with this, look at some of the categories I'd be interested in. So, say tomorrow you're looking for electronics type stuff, mobile accessories, whatever. You could check that little category box. I could look in a certain price range. So I'd say, okay, I personally prefer higher dollar items just because there's a lot more room for margins there. So I like to sell, everything I sell tries to be over like $20 or $25 as a minimum price. So you can add in, your price filters there. You can put in how many sales each of these items have a month. So I might say, okay, I want something that is at least $25. It sells at least 300 units a month. And then I might also say, and show me all the items that have under 50 reviews, okay? So now I'm seeing items that are selling well, even though it's a young listing. So this could potentially be a good opportunity for me. There's a few other things you can search for, like the weight, the rating, the number of sellers, how good the listing is, and so forth. So you can kind of play around with this to come up with ideas and kind of explore niches and products that you otherwise wouldn't think of, and you'll be really surprised, of the products that you see on there. It's just like amazing how vast their catalog is, and like how many just like weird, strange products there are that you would never think of, but are really good opportunities. So, another little tool of when I do my product research. So, I might be searching in the product database or not. Maybe you just have an idea, right? Like the glass Mentos jars or whatever. So I can search for this product on Amazon. And remember, I want to try to find something that has this existing demand of about 3,000 units total, yet isn't too competitive. So if I were to do that, I could search that on Amazon, and I can actually look at the listings. Right away, I can see how many reviews they have. So that's pretty easy. Also, with the JungleScout extension, it will show me how many sales each of these listings have each month. So, and it's just an estimate. We estimate it based off the best sellers rank, but it's pretty darn close. It gets you in the ballpark of how many units are being sold. So that's a good way to explore a niche or an idea if you have one. All right, so attempt for proper planning. So like I said, I prefer to go to these trade shows with a list of ideas that I would like to search for or source. Without doing it, I've found it's really hard, and I end up wasting too much time talking to suppliers that either there's not enough existing demand for these items or they're too competitive and so forth. So, I'd recommend to do a little bit of proper planning ahead of time. But just like this guy who, tried to plan out this like beautiful proposal, I know you're going to get to the show tomorrow when you're walking or whatever, and you're going to see something that, again, you just know, right, this is going to be the best product ever. And maybe it will every once in a while. If you want to do that, you can get your phone out and find the best sellers rank on the Amazon listing. So right away, I could just go to the Amazon listing. Maybe I see, again, this glass little cup. I'd search for it on Amazon, find the top listing, get the best sellers rank. I can then go to junglescout.com/estimator. This is totally free, no email or any of that, just free for everyone. You can enter the sales rank, and it'll tell you about how many sales it has on a monthly basis. So this is a tool y'all can always use while you're walking the floor or whatever else, and get a little glimpse of how well some of these products sell. The other ones I talked about, they would work on like a tablet or a laptop, but most of us probably aren't going to be carrying those around on the showroom floor. So one of the strategies I really like now, I think we kind of touched on like competition a little bit earlier, is to improve on existing products. And this is actually what I'm doing a lot now, all right? So this is really cool because just probably like 5 or 10 years ago, these large corporations would probably spend, I have no idea how much money, tens of thousands of dollars doing product and market research to see, what do our buyers like about our items, what don't they like about our items, how can we improve them, and so forth. And now we can do that on Amazon, in a few minutes. What used to cost tens of thousands of dollars and whole teams or whatever. So I can find products on Amazon that are selling well, yet have poor reviews, and to me, that's like a golden opportunity. So, I've found these furry handcuffs. They, as you can see, they have average of 2 out of 5 stars, which is terrible, right? This is a horrible review. I would never buy anything under like 4 stars on Amazon, yet it's still selling well, which to me means, okay, people want this product even though it's terribly ranked. So I would then go to the reviews. I click the little 1-star review, read what kind of bad reviews there are, and see if any of those things could be improved. And it turns out with this one, I think the chain's breaking, so I can replace a plastic chain with a metal one and so forth. Anyway, you can use your imagination on how you would want to improve it. I don't know. But these are, so I'm not talking about like reinventing an entire product, right? I'm not coming up with brand new handcuffs. I'm making small improvements. So for instance, one of my best-selling products right now had plastic buckles on it that were breaking, and everyone was complaining about it. The best competitor, I think, had like an average of 3-star reviews. So I replaced these plastic buckles with metal buckles, and now I'm charging a premium. He's charging like $19.99. I'm charging like $35.95, and I outsell him like crazy. My average review ranking is like 4.5 stars, and yeah, it's it's doing really good. Omar and I are working on a product right now that it was getting complaints that the cushions were like too hard, that it wasn't comfortable to sit in. So we're working with the factories to get either some thicker cushions or some different material or so forth. Sometimes, I think other ones we were reading, the material was tearing. So maybe instead of this plastic material, I'm going to use like a fake leather or maybe a real leather or something along those lines. So I'm not talking about creating a whole new product. I'm talking about very small improvements that all of a sudden you're getting the good reviews on Amazon, whereas your competitors aren't, and you're going to start selling a lot more because of it, and you can probably charge a premium. All right, so that's about it. If you want to get in contact with me, the best way is to tweet me at Mercer_Greg. You can email me at greg@JungleScout, but I do have to warn you, I have quite the backlog of unread emails, so if you want to get a hold of me quick, that's the best place to do it. Like I said, I'm the founder of JungleScout. We have another tool called ReviewKick to get product reviews on Amazon. Check them out if you haven't already. And yeah, other than that, I just want to answer some of the questions you guys have. Sure.
Do I take it that if I have a new product, Amazon may not be the best place to start or even get in?
Can you repeat the question?
If I have a new product, a new idea, do I take it that Amazon is not the right place to start or right place to do it?
So a brand new idea, you're going to like patent it, like a new invention
All that,
and so forth.
et cetera, right.
Yeah, I would go ahead and put it up on Amazon. But to be honest with you, I don't really have any experience in that. All I used to do is see small modifications or copycat type products, but I don't see any reason not to put it up on Amazon. And I mean, even though it's a new invention, there's probably like some kind of like competitors or similar products. So you get at least a general idea of how much existing demand there is, right?
No, there is. It's a completely
totally new.
Totally
Okay,
new.
yeah. So Yeah, go ahead and put it up. What do you got to lose, right?
No, I mean, it could spread faster than what I can handle, and there could be copycats in 10 days' time, isn't it?
We're going to patent it?
It is patented already.
Oh, well.
But still,
I don't think
once
we worry
again,
about-
the patent
That'd
is
be a
no
good
good at a
problem to
toilet
have. You can worry
paper.
about it then, right? If it expands faster than you can handle.
Probably only way.
Hi,
Hey,
what's up? Hey, Greg, you handle a lot of information, a lot of data about what's going on on Amazon. I've heard that there are around 480 million different products on Amazon, or something nearly 500 million. And some people ask themselves if the rate in which the number of products are growing is proportionate to the number of sellers that are getting into the business, and it's getting too competitive and more competitive every day. And I've heard from some people that are experienced sellers that have 2, 3, 4 years selling, that if they were to begin now, they wouldn't do it because it's too competitive, and some people say that it's not worth it.
Sure.
While other people like you say that at the same rate that the sellers are growing, Amazon is growing as well as a marketplace, as a business. So opportunities are coming. You just have to dig deeper and find them. But that said, what is your opinion about the future of the FBA business on Amazon from now on? I mean, considering that the competitiveness is getting harder and harder and harder.
yeah, so I'm very optimistic about it. So more and more people are shopping on Amazon as well. Yes, it is getting more competitive, but like us as sellers, we're also getting better at like choosing products that are selling well. And actually now it's kind of funny because a lot of like us private label sellers are taking over most of like the best selling items on Amazon because some of these bigger brands, aren't devoting the efforts that they should, to have their products selling well. But there's a lot of expansion into other marketplaces, other countries, and so forth. And I'm always the type to just stay positive, keep at it. And maybe this won't be as good of an opportunity in a few years, but by then there probably will be something else that is good that we can kind of pivot to. But I mean, right now is still a really good time, right? Like I'm still launching products. We look at this case study right here. This just started a few months ago, right? I mean, it's not really more competitive now than it was in November when we launched this. It was able to take off. It's not like I did 10 of these and only one succeeded, right? Like I did one in front of tens of thousands of people, and yeah, it turned out all right. Yeah, I don't think you have anything to worry about. It's still a really good opportunity. Omar and I are working on launching a bunch of stuff right now because it's good.
So actually, great job on the JungleScout. I use all your products. I pay for all your products, and they work really well. And
Awesome.
I'm an IT guy, and I could go make something, but why bother? It works. And so, really good job on that.
Thank
you. My biggest question is, what do you have in the development pipeline? And now that you have people like me that have been using the tools for so long, there's very specific things that we want to see in the product that obviously if it's for the same price or even if it's an upsell. But how do we know what's coming so that we can foresee that it's going to meet our needs, and how can we influence the pipeline so that we, so you know what we need?
That's a really good question. Yeah, so you can always email us, like a support at JungleScout, and we have some really cool like feature requests, like tracking type stuff that we can see, like, how much has been requested, how much it fits into kind of like our long-term goal. So like with JungleScout, our long-term goal is to keep it in the product research type niche. We're not gonna stretch that into whatever else. JungleScout is a product research tool. I think I'm a little biased, but I think the best one. We're just gonna continue to always be the best product research tool. But yeah, you can talk to me after the show, or for anyone else listening, if you email that into us, we do take like all of the good or like all the best features about JungleScout have all been because of customer feedback. So it's really cool. So yeah, if you want email us, we'll definitely add it in to the queue.
Do you have some stuff in the pipeline that you can talk to us about?
Yeah, with JungleScout, we launched this niche hunter feature, which instead of searching for particular products, now we're searching for entire niches, how much demand, competition, price, and so forth in there. We're devoting a lot of efforts right now to improving that. Right now, there's only like 1 million niches in there. Hopefully, another month or two, that'll be like 10 or 15 million. And yeah, it's probably always going to be kind of like a big data aggregator type thing to see like what kind of trends are in the industry and so forth. So we're always kind of just looking at ways we can collect more data. We're looking into or exploring possibilities on how we can collect more data from general consumers on Amazon and so forth. So yeah, sure thing.
Hi, Greg. Great presentation.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for that. Yeah, actually, I have heard a lot about JungleScout. Tried using it. Unfortunately, it's not available in my country. It's not specific to Amazon India yet. Although
Right.
Amazon India is growing at a phenomenal rate right now.
Certainly.
Yeah.
So that's one of our other expansion goals, some other marketplaces.
So
as
that's
well.
what I wanted to check with
Yeah.
you. I don't think even your website doesn't even feature any. You have an option for other marketplaces.
To opt into it?
Yes.
Oh, good point. We'll need to add that. Okay.
Yeah. So
Cool.
any plans for that, or do you wait for a certain volume to take place? How does that work?
Yeah, it's tough, because there's like so much we want to be working on, right? Like all these marketplaces and all these features and everything, and our team's only 13 people, so we have kind of like limited resources. So we definitely want to expand it. India's really exciting. Germany, Japan, those would probably be like our next marketplaces of expansion.
So does this process take time? Because do you have
Certainly.
to? No, in the sense that can't you just duplicate this same thing over onto the other marketplaces?
Yeah, so it would be a lot of like duplication. A lot of our secret sauce is in our sales estimates. So to gather that and analyze that information is pretty time consuming, as well as requires quite a bit of resources. So yeah, it does take some time, but I think this year is a realistic goal.
That's excellent. Thank you.
Yeah, sure thing.
Hey, Greg. I'm just curious about the under the hood. How does JungleScout work? Do you have like a backdoor in Amazon's data center, or how does it work?
Yeah. So Amazon has like an API that anyone, me, you, and everyone else can access a lot of their data from. So we just aggregate a whole bunch of data, present it in a clean way that's user-friendly for us sellers to search, and so forth. And then like few little secret sauce type things, but most of it, as you can see, is just gathering data and organizing it what works well for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Sure thing.
Great presentation, Greg.
Thank you.
I also use JungleScout, and I pay for JungleScout as well. My question is, I remember reading on your blog, you said that the #1 challenge that Amazon sellers face was research, and second was, I think, sourcing.
Yeah.
And I'm just curious because you're a very successful Amazon seller, but what are some of the main challenges for sourcing that you encounter, and how do you overcome those?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So one of it is probably just, at least I guess like if I would look back to like when I was very starting, sourcing from overseas, or if I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of someone who's brand new, probably a lot of it's not understanding like the cultural differences, I think. A lot of people, especially like in the States, I think China just seems like so far away and so distant for them that it's almost like they're not like talking to like another person, right? They're just talking like to a robot. It's very hard, I think, for them to connect these like other people. They always just think like, oh, they're ripping me off and so forth. So I think that would probably be a challenge that they have. Yeah, you get so much, whoever gave the stat earlier about, most of the successful sellers come to these trade shows. It's incredible how much you learn from, coming to conferences like this or trade shows just about, how sourcing from China works, all this really good information and so forth. So I think a lot of it is just, they're kind of uneducated about it.
Hey Greg, yeah, it was a great presentation, and I am also a fully paid member, and will be for the rest of my life, and my children too, probably. Hey, what was the question? Yes, I was just wondering, are you thinking about bringing out like a mobile phone app for JungleScout? That would make life very easy as we were all sort of tooling around the
I agree.
trade show.
Yeah, no, that would be awesome. I wish I had it, I wish I had a secret version I didn't tell you guys about or something, but again, it's in the pipeline. We'd love to create something like that because it would be so nice, going around the trade show floor, being able to type it in and so forth. So,
Is that before or after you sorted out India?
we'll have to look at our feature request board. Yeah, we need about like 30 more developers. So if there's any Rails developers in here, let's talk after.
Plenty in India.
What's that? Plenty in India? Okay.
Hello. Hi.
Hey.
I have a question. How often do you refresh the database of the JungleScout web app?
Yeah, so it's constantly refreshing. We prioritize products that sell better. So I think we did any products that sell one a week or more get updated like every day or every other day. Products that only sell like one a month might only get updated once a week. And then if they sell less than once a month, I think they only get updated like once a month. So yeah, I guess just so you guys know, so our like product database there, if you make a search or whatever, it's not real time, the exact same thing that is shown in the Amazon catalog. It might be a day old or 2 days old or whatever, but for product research purposes, that's close enough.
Hi, Greg. I also pay for
So
JungleScout, obviously.
we're only JungleScout users allowed to ask questions? Or?
Yeah. I think that's the rule of the game.
Okay.
So my question is, obviously as the competitive landscape gets more heated and obviously the algorithm changes become more frequent, so for people who are starting out today, or if you are starting out in 2016, what are some of the things you would do today to get ahead of everybody else, apart from using JungleScout, obviously?
Yeah, so if I hadn't launched my very first product on Amazon yet, I'd actually go for something that was a little less competitive, even if the demand wasn't quite there that I was looking for. Because if you're brand new to it and you launch in a particular niche that is hyper competitive, there is a chance that you'll never even get on that first page or so forth, and then you're kind of like stuck with this inventory. If you start out with like a lower order quantity, launch in one of these niches that, okay, maybe you're not selling 10 a day, but you're selling 5 a day. At least like you're moving your inventory, you're learning a lot, and so forth. The oversized products aren't as competitive. A little bit higher dollar products aren't as competitive. Personally, I'm looking at a lot of those spaces right now, and then. A good thing to just keep in mind is like weird or like unsexy products are usually going to make you more money, like better margins and returns. Like if you can tell your buddy like, hey, I sell this, and they think you're awesome, it's probably not that good of a product. Usually like the really weird stuff's going to be, if your sole purpose is to make money on it, usually the unsexy thing's a little better.
If I'm going to walk out and start searching with JungleScout, first experience, how would you suggest I go about using JungleScout? Is there
What are you looking to do?
I have a product. If I want to start seeing what is the demand, what I could do in the US market or a European market, how would you suggest I do?
So if I was you, I'd search for that particular like niche or like your main keyword on Amazon. Using the JungleScout extension. So I'd search for it. So say your niche was projector remotes. I'd search for projector remotes. Then run the little JungleScout extension. I would see a pop-up on the Amazon store right there. That would show me, how how much volume all of those listings are selling, how much net they have after the FBA fees, number of reviews, and other kind of key metrics that you'd be looking for.
Yep, I'll pay first.
All right.
Does JungleScout cover every product that is listing on Amazon at the moment?
So our extension, so remember that's the one that like works inside the Amazon store. It will work on any product, but it will only give you sales estimates for the product has to have a best sellers rank. So like 95% of products on Amazon have a best sellers rank. Usually the exception are electronics types products, so you won't be able to get sales estimates for that. As far as in like our web app, the product database, we usually only catalog products that sell one a month or better. So there's about like 500 million products on Amazon.com, but there's only actually about like 14 or 15 million that sell one a month or more. The rest are like books or whatever that might sell like one a year and so forth. So there's actually only like 15 million products that are like actually selling on Amazon. So we have pretty much all those in the database.
Greg, you mentioned that one of your criteria was, checking to see whether the product sold 3,000 per month.
Yep.
Would you categorize sort of the different quantities as part of the 3,000? So, for example, if you had quantity 50, quantity 100, quantity 300, do they all get grouped together to reach the 3,000, or do you break them up?
So you mean quantities like there's
Like-
1 packs, 2 packs,
Yes,
3 packs?
yes, in different
Yeah,
quantity
it's a good question.
sizes.
And keep in mind, this is just like a general rule of thumb. I used to just kind of say like, oh, you want the biggest difference of like demand versus competition, but everyone's like, oh, that doesn't do anything for me, right? Like I want some actual numbers. In that scenario, I would probably just count like the 2 packs, just as 1 unit sold, 3 packs as 1 unit sold, and so forth. But just use your best judgment.
Just one more, sorry. One of the biggest challenges, and it's not just JungleScout, it's Amazon as well, is because there's so many new products coming on. And when the new products are coming on, everyone's doing their reviews and all this stuff. So they're basically pumping up the sales in the beginning. And that's basically making the BSR artificially low. And because your whole algorithm is based on using the BSR in order to calculate the sales quantity, in fact, the listing is, the listing of the potential revenue is actually highly inflated.
Sure.
For categories that there's a lot of new listings, and it's not your fault. That's just how Amazon works.
Yeah, I understand.
So I'm not saying anything bad about JungleScout per se. It's just the way it is. So my question is there anything you can do, because you've got all this data, and I know you're big into data science? Is there any way to, let's say, if the listing is under 90 days old or something, kind of flag it so that people can, just be aware of that when they're looking at the listing, and or, to try to normalize what the BSR would be, if it somehow try to figure out, I don't know if it's like, spikes in reviews and or whatever, but is there any way to do a better job using kind of a little more intelligence with the data to at least flag it, if nothing else?
Sure. Yeah, I think what we'd like to do is, so for those of you who don't quite follow all that, it's like pretty much all the items on Amazon right have a bestsellers rank. The bestseller rank is directly based off how many units are being sold, or how many kind of like just sold. So what he's saying is, if they run a big promotion, do a bunch of giveaways, according to their bestsellers rank, might be selling 100 a day, but that's really just because the past 2 days they gave away 100 a day, right? Those weren't like organic sales. And what we'd like to do in the future, to answer your question, is instead of based it solely off the current bestsellers rank, it'd be like an average over the past week or 3 days or whatever. As of now, what I do to be safe, like cautious of that, is not during like initial research, but if like I'm actually getting ready to buy, what I'll do is I'll start tracking that item like on a daily basis, and make sure that it wasn't just kind of like a fluke. The other thing you do is you can kind of look at like the camel or Keepa graphs, and if there was just a big spike in the BSR and that's not where it normally is, that's like red flag. But the good news is, like I know a lot of people are worried about that. and rightfully so, but it's pretty rare, I'd say, for like a bunch of listings in the same niche to like all have just done a giveaway, right? Like there's might be like one or two that are a little bit off, but if you look at it like, you know, top 10 listings, that'd probably be a pretty extreme scenario if like all of them were just did a giveaway, right? So.
All right, let's give Greg a big hand of applause. Thank you, Greg.